Hi everyone. Welcome to All About Buffy, the epilogue, part 2. As you are able to tell, this is not the same day as the last video. It is not even the same weekend. I did try to film the second part then, but the anti-ASMR kitty was not having it. Even me being set up here wasn't enough to appease her, and we had very bad weather the rest of that weekend, so she didn't want to go outside, but it didn't work out, basically. Today is a very sunny day, so she's outside. She will be outside the rest of the afternoon, but I just set up here again for continuity, I guess, sort of. Now, there is something going on out there. I've heard like a crowd cheering twice. So I feel like it's probably cycling. Like Belgium is big on cycling as a sport. So maybe there's like a route through town somewhere. I don't know, but it's not loud. I'm pretty far from where any crowds would be, but you may be able to hear it. I just want to note that because none of the background noise is going to make me abandon this video. Okay. So it's the epilogue. We are still continuing with answering questions that have been asked along the way. I just wanted to start by showing you 2 things before I get into the rest of the questions. So it's a very sunny day, meaning that the house isn't as cold as it usually is when I film. So I thought I would wear my Buffy tank top over, my turtleneck. Unfortunately, the design falls quite low, and I don't want to point the camera down or whatever. So it's just what it is, but I'll just quickly show you. So this is a tank top. It's like a loose tank, and it has the Arg vampire guy. Arg. So anyone that has watched Buffy on the DVDs will immediately recognize this. I don't know if it's included on streaming platforms. I haven't watched Buffy on streaming platforms. But so after every episode, after the credits roll, there's like the Mutant Enemy Inc. logo, and this guy sort of hops across the screen and you hear grr, arg, grr, arg. And I don't know, I just always liked that. I have it tattooed, the grr, arg here. I think it was my first walk-in tattoo. Yeah, it's the first tattoo that I was just like, I want to get a tattoo now. And I just printed off the grr arg in this Buffy font and walked into a tattoo shop and got it done. So yeah, I have 2 of these tanks. One is like the other one is like a gray. It has like different gray shades. I like them a lot. So I figured I would end the series wearing it, but you will not be able to see it. Maybe that's a good thing. He is kind of ugly. And so the other thing I wanted to show you was a picture of the Spike poster I mentioned in the last video. So I'm in the picture, but I'm going to, I'll show you me far away, and then when I get closer, I'm gonna hide me. So this was the poster. It's very big. You can sort of see my arm for scale. Very big, very pretty, and his colors. So that was above my bed for like a good 6 years, I want to say, from when I was 16, I think, till somewhere in my 20s. I think I took it down but I actually don't remember. But I think it was gone by then. Yeah. So, questions. Let's get into it. I have 3 questions left. That's the craft. I don't understand. Maybe just running. Like maybe there's a race. I don't know. Questions. Where are they? Okay. So, right. First question is, how would you rank the seasons in terms of your subjective faves to least? And they give their own ranking. I'll compare with mine when I'm done. Now, this ranking, interestingly, has changed because of this video series. So if I were to have made this ranking before this series, I probably would have just immediately thought, well, the seasons that I rewatch the most, they're my favorite seasons. So that would be 2, 4, and 6, because I rewatch those the most. So I would assume that they're my favorites. And it's not until I really talked through every season in this series that I realized that no, actually, they're not my favorites. And the fact that I like rewatching them has more to do with individual episodes than the quality of the season as a whole. So, I am going to create a ranking based on the quality of the season as a whole, and not based on if it contains a lot of my individual favorite episodes. So, now I'm going to work from the back to the front. So I'm going to start with least favorite and then work my way up to favorite, because I think that'll be easier, because I know which my least favorite seasons are, and that has not changed. So my least favorite season is season 1. Season 1 is just not a good season. There is agreement on that throughout the fandom and anyone that likes TV. But we can forgive them for that. It was a first season. It did lay a lot of the groundwork. They were still kind of finding their footing. But season 1 is not good. And then the second least favorite of mine is season 7. I think that's no surprise, though I really love how they finished the series. I love the last episodes leading up to the finale. But overall, I do not like season 7 at all. So then, shockingly, I am going to put season 4. Though this is my guilty pleasure favorite season, and easily my most rewatched season, that is fully due to the individual filler episodes being so freaking brilliant. Because overall, as a season, it is quite terrible. The initiative, Riley, Adam, it just all sucks. But I am going to place an asterisk with it. Just a little asterisk right there. to really love it. You know, episodes like Fear Itself, Something Blue, Pangs, A New Man, and of course, friggin' Hush make it such an enjoyable season that I feel like it gets a little special mention. Now, the next one is going to be season 6. And I feel like this is when we're getting into seasons that are actually good. Because I do think season 6 is a good season overall. There are some things that bother me in it, but I do think it all works. It's a very important season. And yeah, I think this is where the seasons do start to get good. But the other ones are just better. So the ones we have left are season 2, 3, and 5. And fun fact, I have created this ranking 2 times before. Yeah, this is the 3rd time that I'm attempting to finish this series. And when I looked at the 2 previous rankings before starting this video, I noticed that they were different. So this part is relatively arbitrary. I think they are 3 very strong seasons, and I can't even agree with myself on which season should take the gold, the silver, or the bronze. So today, let's see how I think today. 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to put 2 on 3rd place. 2 gets the bronze. And the main reason for this is Angel / Angelus. I think it's a really good season, but in my opinion, Angel is not a strong enough actor to carry a season to that extent. He grows in his acting, but at this time he's just fully outshined by Spike and Drusilla, which is fine, and which is one of the reasons that season 2 is still this strong. But Angel is still in this show a lot. He's like the big bad, the pivotal character, and I don't think he carries it well enough. And so 3 and 5 is the ones that I switched around, are the ones that I switched around last time. So it's just impossible, but it doesn't really matter. So I am going to give season 5 the silver and season 3 the gold. So that's my ranking currently. So there you have it. It's pretty interesting because season 5, I have spent the last 10 years thinking that season 5 was a bad season because, as you know, I only watched it that one time on TV, and then because I lost my mom, I wasn't able to watch it again. And something that stuck in my head about this season was the first episode, Buffy vs. Dracula. And that just stuck in my head. First impressions, you know? And I just made it bad in my head. Another thing is that when I saw it the first time, I also really hated Dawn. I hated her so much, as many other people did as well. And she really grew on me in later years, but I still connected her to season 5. So in my mind, season 5 would have been around here before I finally managed to watch it again. And now I almost gave it the gold, so I think that's kind of funny. Let's compare it to the commenters ranking. So, okay, so they gave the last place to season 7, which I understand, but so for me, because I do think they handled the finale very well, it gets bumped up a spot. If that's another airplane. And so then they gave a tie spot to season 1 and 4, which I get, but again, 4 has so many good individual episodes to me, so that's why I like it over 1. The filler episodes in season 1 are just meh. And then season 6 we have in the same spot, and then they gave the gold to season 5, silver to season 2, and bronze to season 3. So we have some differences in those first spots. So, but yeah, that was interesting to think about 3 times, and I hope this was the last time. Okay, the next question. So the same commenter asked me about Buffy Angel and Buffy Spike. Okay, so they say, I was just thinking you can tell so much by a person depending on which team they're on out of Angel or Buffy. It's rare that it's almost a perfect split down the middle in terms of audience preference when there is usually a massive favorite in these famous love triangles. Would love to hear you talk about the positives and negatives of both pairings and what they say on a larger scale about love and growth. Also, as Buffy forever, to be honest. Okay. So, this is another topic that has evolved immensely for me throughout the years. So I'm gonna say, also it's Buffy forever. You know that I ship Spike Buffy. I always have ever since Spike showed up, but it has definitely changed, and I've become much more aware of kind of what that says over the years. So I'm going to try to keep this concise-ish. So just checking the clock. Right, so I ship Spike Buffy, but the reason that I do is fully because of the character of Spike, and less so because of their cosmic connection or something. So I just love Spike as a character, and I think he's funny, I think he's smart, I think he's insanely attractive. I think James Marsters is a really good actor and acts him very well. I think his character has incredible depth, many layers, and it's just really interesting. And that's why I ship Spike Buffy. Because Angel has none of that. But if we are looking at, oh God, so many birds. It's just, it is what it is. There's no way in the world that I'm going to film this again. So this is just how it's going to be. So if I look at it sensibly from the point of choosing the best partner, I will have to say it's Angel. Because if you just look at things objectively, Spike is not a good choice. And just like right off the bat, we have the issue of Spike having no soul and Angel having a soul. And there's this whole argument whether or not you can even love someone without a soul. And I'm talking in the show, okay? Not in real life. I'm not having some sort of spiritual discussion about the existence of a soul in life, okay? Please do not even, because I don't fucking care. I'm talking about the show, okay? So in the show, there are souls and you have one or you don't. And if you lose your soul, you become an evil vampire. So there's the argument, can you love without a soul? And a lot of Spike Buffy shippers will say, well, Spike's love is stronger, is more pure, is more real because he loves her even without a soul. Whereas Angel, the second he loses his soul, he wants to kill her whole family and drive her insane and ruin her life, right? So that's an argument that I've heard from a lot of Spike Buffy shippers. And once upon a time, I would have followed along in that argument, like, oh, but look at Spike, he doesn't even need a soul, they're meant to be together, he will do anything for her even without a soul, and all that. But is that true? No. So Spike apparently loves Buffy, right? I mean, that's what we're meant to believe. But if you look at his behavior after realizing that he loves Buffy, it's not that he decides to turn his life around in order to be worthy of her life or something, right? He tries to when he has to, when it's convenient for him, and when he is being rewarded for it, right? But anytime Buffy either overtly rejects him, he loses all that and just fucks up. And I think the most telling moments are in season 6. So remember when Spike notices that he can hit Buffy without his chip firing, right? What does he do then? He's just like, oh my God, I can eat people again. Let's eat people. And the first thing he does is go out to try to bite some innocent young woman, which doesn't work, okay? So then he realizes, oh, it must be just Buffy that I can hurt. What does he do then? He goes out and he wants to hurt her, kill her, maybe? And that does not end up happening, and they end up sleeping together, and it's just toxic from then on. And in season 7, he does get a soul, which is nice, and I really wish that at that point I could start fully rooting for him, but post seeing Red, that's not really an option anymore. Again, because in my opinion, the way that the show portrays it is he didn't mean to get his soul. He meant to get revenge. Okay? So if you look at that, I feel like it's very obvious that Spike is a terrible choice. So yeah, he is smart, funny, really fucking hot, strong. He is often supportive of Buffy. He believes in her. He is very often ride or die for her. But he is so quick to turn on her, so quick to just do all the things that he knows she wouldn't want him to do, whether it is illegally trading demon eggs, or whether it is playing kitten poker, or I don't know. But he just, time after time, makes decisions that prove he is not worthy of Buffy. And I think that's quite clear. And when I was younger, I was sort of blinded by the peroxide. And I was just like, ah, Spike. But when you grow up, you sort of see that what they mainly have going for each other is chemistry. Just a fuckload of chemistry. But that's about it. And I don't even know if you can call it love, and I would call it obsession. You know, in Spike's case, and maybe in season 7, it does become more love, because, and now let me turn to Angel for a second. Angel clearly loves Buffy, and although you can very rightly raise the issue that this is a 200-year-old being that sees a 15-year-old girl with a lollipop and decides this is the woman that for me, this is the girl for me. Skeevy as fuck. But we're gonna move past that, because it's just that's just what we have to do at this point. Okay, so we're gonna put a pin in that. Okay, but from that moment where stinky, starving, brooding Angel sees beautiful, bubbly Buffy on the steps of her high school, from that moment, every single thing he does is to prove that not even to prove, he doesn't do it to prove anything, he just does it out of love. He just does it to help. He just does it because he loves her. Everything he does, everything Angel does in Buffy, when he is souled, when he has a soul, is out of love for Buffy. Like, you can't deny that. And so I think it's pretty clear who she's supposed to end up with. And and Buffy knows. Sarah Michelle Gellar is the biggest Buffy Angel shipper on the planet. Everything she writes regarding that is just very clear, and she is adamant that Buffy and Angel belong together. And she's always said in interviews like that, when she was filming these difficult moments between Buffy and Angel, like when they have to leave each other, or when one is hurt and dying, or when she has to kill him, all of those moments that she would get very, very emotional personally, because she was just so invested in their love and their connection. And she would have to stop and take a moment and regroup before she could continue filming. And I think that says a lot. You know, no one knows Buffy like Sarah Michelle Gellar knows Buffy. So I think that her point of view should hold a lot of weight. And it just makes sense, like I said, everything Angel does is for her. He even leaves for her. And you know, that's one of the hardest things that you can have to do when you love someone, is let them go, because it is best for them. And Angel does. So, in conclusion, I think if you to this day ship Spike Buffy without any like side notes, I think you should do some soul searching in terms of how you define love, and yeah, it gives me a very big love is pain vibe. And yeah, love is not supposed to be pain. It's not. It's not. So I still ship Spike Buffy, but I do so with eyes wide open. Okay. I do so purely because of my love for the character Spike, my dislike for the character Angel, and the fucking chemistry. Like, my god. Like, these two humans are the sole reason that it took me this fucking long to realize I'm ace. Like, if they had not existed, I would have realized much sooner that sexuality and sex is not for me. But they confused shit. They really confused things. Yeah. Anywho, so I think that answers the question. You know, what they say on a larger scale about love and growth. Yeah, I think I answered that. Again, it's Buffy forever, but you just have to be aware of the reasons why that is, and make better choices for yourself. And maybe that's why there's such a split down the middle. No, I don't know. I don't know why there's such a split down the middle. The reason I think that it's not like a in some other fandoms, there's big animosity between ships. And I personally don't feel like that's the case so much in Buffy, and in my opinion that's because Riley exists. So whenever a Spike Buffy shipper runs into a Buffy Angel shipper, it's like, well, okay, at least it's not Riley, you know. So we kind of unite in our hatred for Riley. So that's nice. That's nice. Okay, so I've got one more question. And that is the following question. I'm curious what your thoughts on Angel, the series, are. For me, it has some amazing Buffyverse characters, but it just doesn't have the same comforting feel as Buffy. Okay. I feel like I have alluded to my feelings regarding Angel as a character quite a bit during this video. And that kind of carries over to my feelings for Angel the show as well. I don't really like Angel as a character. In my opinion, it's never been like he's never been like fully defined as a character. In season 1, I really liked him. I really liked him as this like mysterious, dark, brooding individual that just pops out of the shadows, says 3 sentences, and disappears back into the shadows. I really liked that whole vibe, and that worked for him as an actor at the time. And after that, when he started becoming more important in the show and when he had more of a role, I feel like they forgot to give him a personality. Like they forgot to give him a defined character. Whereas everyone else on the show has really defined, distinctive traits and a personality. And with Angel, that's kind of lost. And I feel like one thing you can really notice it by is when he is supposed to turn from Angel to Angelus, they really have to help him make that clear. Like, so they make him more pale, they make him more Irish, and he dresses differently. They have to use all of these external details to help communicate the change, because one, David Boreanaz as an actor couldn't pull that off at the time, and two, Angel's character isn't distinctive enough to make that switch obvious, And so there are so many good examples out there of characters pulling off a switch like that without needing any help, just within the show. Even if you look at Faith, Eliza Dushku when she plays Buffy in Who Are You in This Year's Girl in season 4, or Willow in Doppelgangland when she's playing evil Willow, but she's wearing Willow's fluffy outfit. It's so obvious. And when you, and like looking outside of the show, I think the shining beacon of such a Jekyll and Hyde example lives in Beacon Hills, in Teen Wolf 3B, season 3B, where Styles becomes Void Styles because he's possessed by Nagitsune. Like, I mean, that's how you do it. Okay, so that's fucking how you do it. And Angel cannot do that. And I feel like one of the reasons is because it just never gave him a character, a real personality. And in Angel the show, that just bothers me. I just don't feel like Angel as a character can carry a show. Like, one second he's this almost himbo type goofball, and the other second he's like really serious and dark and brooding. One second he is just totally clueless, and the other second he's like brilliant and all-knowing, and it just doesn't work for me. He's too disjointed as a character, and I am not invested in him as a character at all. And I need to be. Like, Buffy is not one of my favorite characters in the show, but I love her. She's so important to me. I feel like I know her personally. And what happens to her matters more to me than what happens to most of the real people in my life. Okay? So even though she's not my favorite character, I love her. And I just don't give a fuck about Angel, you know, beyond his link to Buffy. I don't care. And so that's why I never got into Angel the show. I don't care about any of the other people in that show either, besides Fred / Illyria. That's it. That's it. I only care about her, and that's it. So I never got into Angel. I feel like they lifted out the supernatural element out of Buffy to make a spin-off with it, and they left all of the other levels behind. So Buffy isn't good because it's a supernatural show. That's like just the vehicle that they used to tell their story. But it could have been any other kind of vehicle. That's not what makes Buffy good. What makes Buffy good is all of the stories they're telling that are so incredibly important, and they tell it in such a way that is so incredibly well made. And I feel like they just lifted the vehicle and put another driver in it and thought that would work. And I'm sure it worked for a lot of people. I always used to wonder, like, was this their attempt to make this formula more appealing to men? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what men watch. Sorry. But it just didn't work for me. It was pretty empty to me. I never got into it. I own one season of Angel. Guess which one? And even that I never rewatched. I honestly wish they would have let Spike die on Buffy because it was ridiculous. Again, they thought they could just lift Spike from Buffy and drop him in another show and have him have the same effect on that show as he had on Buffy. No, didn't work. Was extremely ridiculous, and I never watched that season again. Like, they should have just let Spike evaporate, in my opinion. Yeah, so that's my opinion on Angel the Show. Those were all the questions. So, one thing that I wanted to give a bit of special attention about the show that I haven't really explicitly mentioned in any of the other episodes is the music. Now, I know that the whole world is very much into music, but I'm not. I could honestly live without. So music isn't often an important factor to me in TV shows or movies. You know, very rarely does it just jump out at you. Like, there are some movies like Juno, or, you know, Call Me by Your Name, or even 10 Things, that you just can't imagine without that soundtrack. But generally, music is not something I notice in TV shows or movies. But in Buffy, I noticed. And in talking about, like, when they use music songs with lyrics, so not just like a instrumental score in the background, though, you know, I love those as well. Like, I can hear the song playing that always plays when she's fighting someone. Or when she's like patrolling the cemetery and something's gonna happen. It's like, yeah, I can hear them, which also doesn't happen to me with other TV shows. But again, I don't watch other shows like I do Buffy. But I'm talking about when they use songs with lyrics. And they often do that when they have like live performers in the Bronx, and it just works And there's other shows that used to do this in the 90s and the 2000s, that they would have like this ridiculous break in their show where a live band is performing, usually a band that's popular at the time, and you're just sitting there watching the show like, why is this happening? What the fuck? But in Buffy, it works. It just works, and the lyrics very often brilliantly tie into the show and the scenes. And I just wanted to give a special mention to the music on Buffy. And if that's something that you haven't watched out for, you should. You should. It often makes scenes a lot more moving and emotional, or a lot more funny, because they do it in a humorous way as well. So, I wanted to say that. I think that's about it. Like, I don't want to end this. I really do. I really, really do. It's gonna be fucking awesome not to have to think about how and when I'm going to film, and if I get to film, if it's going to work out. That's gonna be sweet, honestly. But I feel really strange about this series ending. Like, it's been a journey. It's been a journey, and it's hard to let it go. But I've had such a good time. I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad I finished it. I'm so glad it's out there forever, and maybe one day my niece can watch the series after she's old enough to watch Buffy, and then watch these videos. If that happens, I love you, girl. So I think that's really cool. So again, thank you to Shadow of Lotus for requesting this series. It's been awesome. Now, along the way, I've also had people request that I do this for another TV show. I've had people request that I do this for specific TV shows, or just any TV show, but they just like the format. But aside from the whole I cannot film under these conditions aspect, I really couldn't do this for any other TV show. So even if I was still able to film, I don't think I could try to do this for any other TV show. My most watched other TV shows are Supernatural and Gilmore Girls. And when I say Supernatural, I mean the real Supernatural, which means seasons 1 through 5, and then it ends, and the rest is a spin-off. Okay. So those are my 2 other most watched TV shows, and I know them very well, but not like I know Buffy. Like, I might have watched them many, many times, but I don't know the episode titles by heart. I don't know the plot front to back, back to front. I didn't spend a good chunk of my life living, eating, breathing, sleeping that particular show, right? I tried to get into the supernatural fandom. I succeeded like okay. Anyway, so I partially succeeded, but I couldn't even begin to think about doing something like this for one of those shows. Shoo, that is not going to happen, unfortunately. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. You know, this could be my series finale. Yeah. So, I'm going to take some time, a couple weeks, couple months, and reevaluate, and we'll see what happens. So, thank you for going on this journey with me. I'm kind of interested to know who made it all the way through. Yeah. If you made it all the way through all these Buffy videos, then comment a coffin emoji. Okay. For those of you watching on their laptop or something, which is what I usually do when I can't use emojis there. Just make something up. Improvise. Okay. Anyway, thank you again. It's been lovely. And I will see you when I